All right, first video of its kind. Trying this new format out. Today's focus is going to be what I learned today. Well, yesterday. I'm recording this a little late. But yeah, I kind of wanted to focus on really understanding the SwiftUI fundamentals, how views are redrawn, and understanding the attribute graph. Here's the core of the problem. I think this video is not going to work. I'm just going to play it again. If you see this video when I play it, you'll see that takes quite a bit of time to go from tap to showing the actual view. And this is inside my app, Linkeeper. This only shows up when I click the All tab because it has 782 bookmarks. This doesn't happen on smaller folders. And that's when I first shipped this app, I didn't really notice that, which is obviously my fault. But if you go here, you'll see why that is. This line of code, which is the core of the problem here, was written in 2022. This is one of the first lines of code I've written. Just as a reminder, I finished learning SwiftUI in January of 2022. So yeah, this is pretty old, and what ended up happening is I kept building on top of it, and it ended up being technical debt. You can also even see that the name of the app in this file is not Linkeeper, but instead marked, which is going to be the original name, but turns out someone had already taken it for a very similar app. But anyways, here you go. This is the code. It's a huge monolith of code, and if you've written SwiftUI before, you understand why this is a problem. But I took a chance. I took this opportunity to watch these two talks. One from Natalia Panfarova, who's from Nil Coalescing. I've read some of her books before. They're wonderful. But this talk was also just as meaningful. And it really gave me some good insights on why you should break views down. But also this talk from Chris from Pragma Conference, or Pragma. And this was also a wonderful talk, quite long, but it really helped me understand the attribute graph, which is basically what controls these redraws in SwiftUI. So both of these talks in combination really helped me understand how I should write code in SwiftUI and how I should structure it. And so coming to the actual code, this is the code before I made the refactorings. You'll see a lot of clear problems. First is this thing here. In the initializer, I'm performing a little bit of an expensive call. It's not too much, but I am accessing the file directory and I'm accessing the file directory and decoding the stored values, which is probably not a great idea. And after some inspection, I also realized this is redundant code because this process is already taking place inside here in a task. So that's kind of redundant. So getting rid of that was step one. So that removed the extensive computation from the init, which definitely makes a huge performance difference. But also, if you understand the attribute graph, is that variables that are passed into the view, now everything in your view is dependent on those variables, and as soon as they switch, as soon as one of them switches, the entire view is redrawn, which can be expensive. Sometimes they're not expensive, but sometimes they are. Re-evaluations are inexpensive, but redraws are expensive, if I understand correctly. Either ways, here you'll see like a lot of variables being passed, and well, I'll get to this problem a bit later, but here you see this view, which is like the thumbnail view. This was a view that's repeated in bookmark list item, more or less the same. Obviously has some customizations to it, but that can be fixed. In table view, I believe you see similar code. Once again, it's somewhere here, but I had been basically writing the same code in multiple places, even in bookmarks detail view, which is similar logic at the end of the day, and I'm repeating it every time. So obviously this was a great candidate for refactoring, but also because it's good in terms of performance, because now what I'm doing is isolating these variables into this new view for bookmark thumbnail, which is only taking the cached preview and the title of the bookmark. It's dependent on nothing else. So this only refreshes or redraws when there are changes to the cached preview, which only happens once every time a view is loaded. So now this view is no longer being unnecessarily refreshed inside of here. Same thing with the label. I refactored it into like the separate view, which just has the ID, title, host. Might make things a little more cleaner eventually here, but earlier this was just regular text in this grid item here. So this is also no longer redrawn without any changes in the title, host, or ID, and there's no change in ID ever. So this is already a good performance improvement. We've made the code shorter. This is fewer lines of code in total. If you can see, this is 246 versus 269. But we've also made it more performant by refactoring it and reducing the number of dependencies that cost the view to redraw, or like unnecessary parts of the view to redraw. Another thing I understood is separating it into just like a function view doesn't actually help performance. It helps readability but not performance, because this is still dependent on the structs variables, unlike if I actually split it up into a new struct, which is good to know. I did not know this earlier. And there's obviously still other technical debt that I'm still holding on to, and you'll see that in the solution. But selected bookmarks again here was another set that I was passing into the bookmark grid item when it was not really necessary. So I moved this logic for select, like the toggle selection, into the parent view of the bookmark grid item. So now that's taken care of inside of here. So this handles the toggle selection, and now the view is prone to a lot less redraws, and you see a significant improvement in performance. So I'm gonna play this new video. I'm just gonna play this old one first, just for you to see. That took a few seconds. What's this, which was much more instantaneous. I think there's still room for improvement in terms of how it can be, a little more performant, but you can see this is a lot better than it was before. As soon as I take the finger off, it's almost there. You see now it kind of animates the thumbnails, whereas previously it had them ready by the time I came in. That's because of the initializer. It's now been fixed. This is a good compromise where I'm giving that animation, loading into the view first, versus having them feel like it's like a micro hang. So fixing that was important. But yeah, that's kind of what I learned today. Understanding the attribute graph, understanding how splitting your views into smaller views and smaller independent structs, not just functions, can actually create a meaningful difference in performance. And these are lessons I'll carry forward. But that's it for today. I'm gonna keep working on this to make it a lot more functional, because obviously this code was written nearly 4 years ago at this point. So not even nearly, literally 4 years ago, when I was first starting SwiftUI. And yeah, I should have refactored it as SwiftUI grew and as I grew, but that's not necessarily happened. So now it's my chance to go back and really understand the fundamentals while I make these decisions for refactoring. So that was that. Hopefully this video was maybe a little beneficial to you. Maybe you're doing something similar to this that are also really bad for SwiftUI's dependency graph, attribute graph. But that was kind of my thought process of understanding how things are going. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. Also, any feedback. Like I said in my original video, the introduction video I made just some time ago, this is an experiment. The first few videos will be scrappy. Right now it's kind of like a vlog, but eventually I want to plan on turning these into helpful videos for others too. So please feel free to put feedback down in the comment section down below. I would be more than happy to hear from you about what you thought of this video. And if you have also ended up in a similar position before, ended up writing long monolithic code, which is obviously bad for SwiftUI. But anyways, this was an improvement for Linkeeper. A lot of you pointed this out when I met y'all at Deep Dive Swift, and you were like, why is that taking so long to load? And this is why. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow with some other cool stuff.